Namaskar, everyone. Very good evening. Welcome to Transformational Sunday meditation class. I hope I am audible. Yes, okay. Thank you, Shamlaji. Great. So, friends, let us begin today's class by a small warm up meditation so that rest of our friends can also join in. So I'd like you all to sit comfortably and close your eyes. And connect with your normal, natural, soft, tranquil, peaceful breath. Just be. Just allow yourself to be. Sir, Bill. Be with your breath. Aligning yourself for today's session, today's class. Just be. Centering yourself completely. Just be. And we open ourselves to this fasting, the fasting of thoughts. Not just that we fast for the body, we keep the fast in the mind. We don't interact. We don't interact with all that is coming at the surface in the mind. We let it be. is this fasting that has the potential to recharge us, to turn us inward, and to connect to our real nature. Everything can wait at this moment. Everything can be put to rest in this moment. As I allow myself to recharge. This time is only for me to connect with my real nature. And I am absolutely ready for that. Two more minutes. I'm ready to absorb from one of these most revealing stories our the generations that have come have ever heard. I'm ready to receive that. Taking 3 long, deep breaths. Breathing in from your nose, hold it for a while, and breathe out from your mouth. Totally centering yourself. And whenever we are ready, gently and softly, we open our eyes. Welcome, friends. Welcome, everyone, to this Transformational Sunday meditation class. And today we will talk about this beautiful story of Nachiketa. And we will gain insights for our own self, because all these stories that are mentioned in our ancient texts, it has it reveals the real nature of self in most mystical ways. So I will talk about this story, and of course I will give you some bit of insights that I have gained, contemplating over this story. And of course you are most welcome to bring your own insights into this, and then we meditate over it, because it's very important to meditate over the insights so that they go deep within us. And so before we start, I would really like to, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank our great teachers, all of us. We have Dr. Newton, Dr. Lakshmi, for showing us the way to self. It is the great teachers who do such work. They show the path, and so much of support that they offer to each one of us so that we move forward. This transformational class is another one such effort to move towards the self, to move closer to the self, and let us all make the best use of it. With that, yes, thank you, Shamlaji. Great. So, friends, as I said, that today we will be talking about the story of Nachiketa. So, this comes from, the Upanishad called Katha Upanishad. So, Upanishad, the word Upanishad, it simply means Upnishad, right? So, Up means by, sitting by. Shad means basically sitting down, right? And ni is basically a Sanskrit suffix, a kind of a suffix, kind of a connector between the up and shad. So sitting down near, that is how the knowledge is received. In the ancient days, the students and teacher would sit, near to each other, and the teacher would sit, on a pedestal which is a little above the teacher, a little above the student, and the students will receive it from below. That is how the Upanishad, the word is being created. And this is how the wisdom was given in the olden days. Of course, with the time, the things have moved in different ways, but the essence remains the same because we learn from the same essence. So Upanishad, and this word called Katha, Katha Upanishad or Katha. Katha means something like a story, something which is shared, like, spoken, Katha Upanishad. So that is how this, word is given to this Upanishad. Of course, there are many Upanishads, around 108 Upanishads that are written, so far. And out of that, we can say that there are around 10 Upanishads that are, most widely spoken about, and they are the major Upanishads. We all know that there are four, Vedas: Rig Ved, Samved, Atharvaved, and Yajurved. So each Veda has some Upanishads under it. So Katha Upanishad comes from the Krishna Yajurveda, which means under the category of the Yajurveda. So this Katha Upanishad speaks about the conversation between the most interesting conversation our history has ever witnessed is the conversation between the Nachiketa and Yamadharmaraj. So it's a conversation with the Lord of Death and this young lad whose name is Nachiketa. So how, he is, what is he focused on, how to accumulate knowledge, and how do we become immortal? All these beautiful secrets are given and provided between the lines of this beautiful story mentioned in Katha Upanishad. Of course, we cannot cover the entire subject because it takes lifetimes to, decode this beautiful story. But yes, I encourage you to read it and put your, time and energy into, letting that rasa droop when you, you read this story, and you kind of put it inside and you give an inquiry, and a lot of things can unravel to you. So as I said, that this story is about a young boy whose name is Nachiketa, and he's kind of a young lad around 12 years. And once he saw that his father, whose name is Vajshravas, so Vajshravas was doing a kind of a sacrifice. So people would, in the olden days, people would do a lot of sacrifices to reach to the highest plane, to receive the highest knowledge. That is how, the sacrifices would be done. So this person, Vajshravas, Nachiketa's father, was also doing a lot of sacrifices. And then his, so the basic ritual is that, when you do a sacrifice, you will offer everything which is precious to you. That is how the sacrifice is considered to be total, whole, and complete. So, well, friends, when you're listening to this story, Upanishads have a key, and it says that you have to listen to it with rapt attention. You just can't be, lazy. You have to be completely in your body if you want the energy of that supreme being come to you. So I invite you all to be fully with me, engage with your, all the fastness that we are absorbing here, because that is how it reaches into us. So coming back to the story, when this son sees that his father is busy doing all those rituals and sacrifices, and since the sacrifices are done to offer, all the precious that you have and giving it to, all those who need it. So he was doing it. The father was busy doing that, and he realized that his father is sacrificing cows, and he's giving cows to the needy. And he also realized that his father is giving those cows who cannot give milk. Maybe in those words, we can say the useless. He's giving those which cannot be of any use to the one whom you are giving. And rest, he's keeping all those cows with himself who can be milked. So he's giving that he feels is not needed, and at the same time he is, kind of, all rest of the things that he is giving is completely, not working for that. And then what happened was, he went to his father and he said that, dear father, you're supposed to give these beautiful gifts, all the beautiful sacrifices that you're supposed to do. And do you really think it is according to your dharma that you're giving this? Is it good? Is it going to get you the real knowledge that you are seeking? Is it going to get you that? And when this happened, he was, he did not say anything. And then, the child said, since you're supposed to give something precious into this sacrifice, I am also a precious one for you. Whom would you offer me to? And when he said this, the father kept mum. He did not say anything. He kept himself busy into the work that he was doing. And, the child said it again, Dad, father, whom would you offer me to? Tell me, whom are you going to give it to me? And then in the second time, he again said nothing. We just ignored it. And the third time, when the child said that, whom are you going to give me to? The father says, I give you to death. That's what he said. And when the child heard that the father has given me to death, now he is kind of thinking in between that I should definitely offer myself to death, because if I don't offer myself, my father's whole sacrifice will become a futile process. So he wanted to keep the words of his father. He didn't want that his father, whatever intent he's kept, it should not, be completed. And then he got ready. But then in between, his father also realized that what wrong I have done in my own anger. His child said, Nachiketa said, Dad, dear father, you really don't have to worry. Like, this corn that is there in the field, human beings are like this. We grow to fall, like the corn grows to fall, the seed of the corn grows to fall, and then fall to grows, to grow back again. So it's a journey. Life and death is a journey. So I would request that you don't grieve. Don't grieve on what you've decided. And life and death is just a movement. It has nothing to do with, with the real thing that you are focused on. So he said that, yes, I will do what you have said. And he got ready. And that is how he journeyed to the what we say, the Yam Dharmaraj, his basic loka that he went to, Yamaloka. And while he entered that Yamaloka, he's sitting at the gate, and he realized that the gatekeeper told him that Yam Dharmaraj is not at home. He's gone for, picking up some souls. So he's busy. He's not here right now. So you come some other time. First, they got really surprised that how come, somebody on their own accord, somebody can come in here. But when the child said, no, I would not go without meeting, having a conversation with Yam Dharmaraj, then he said, that's fine. You can wait for Yam Dharmaraj to come in and we will see. So days passed by. Day one, I mean, first night went, and the second night went, and the third night went. And finally, Yam Dharmaraj comes back. And then the gatekeeper tells him that there is a young lad with the name of Nachiketa who's sitting at your door, and he just does not listen to anything, and he only wants to meet you, only wants to have a conversation with you. And now, when Yam Dharmaraj got to know about it, so he obviously, the Lord of Death is carrying the highest of knowledge. So when he realized that there is somebody sitting at his doorsteps, so friends, when I'm sure you know about this word called atithi, right? Now is the culture when we go to somebody's home, we take an appointment. We tell them that, oh, I will come at 5 o'clock. I will come for a cup of tea at 6 o'clock. But in the olden days, it never happened because there was no way to communicate. I'm coming, and so people would end up coming just like this. So for him, for Yam Dharmaraj, he was just an atithi. Atithi means a tithi. Somebody who comes without a tithi is an atithi, a guest. So he came without any announcement. He came. So Yam Dharmaraj said that he is an atithi. And so we say Atithi Deva Bhava. That means Atithi is nothing but the God. So God has come unannounced. What will you do? You can't just say, oh, I will bang the door and you go back. Of course, you have to let the Atithi be welcomed and do all that is needed. And then later on, he also got to know that for 3 days he was offered a lot of food, water, but he did not take. And he just had one request that he wants to meet Yam Dharmaraj. And on the top of that, when Yam Dharmaraj realized that he is a Brahman, now Brahman doesn't mean the Brahman, the Purohit. No, the Brahman is that one who seeks the knowledge of the truth, who seeks the real knowledge, who seeks the supreme being. That is what the Brahman is. And so he felt that I can't, take the, I don't want to create a karma for myself. Yam Dharmaraj doesn't want to create a karma for himself. That, I don't kind of be hospitable to, this young lad who has come in. So he runs to the gate and he meets that boy, little boy, who's standing very patiently there waiting for Yam Dharmaraj. And Yam Dharmaraj bows to the boy and he says that, dear Nachiketa, you have waited for me 3 nights here. So these 3 nights, for every night, I will give you a boon. So I will give you 3 boons for these 3 nights that you have spent here. Now, so we'll stop the story here for time being, and we would go into understanding what these 3 nights are. So, of course, Yam Dharmaraj is basically the Lord of Death. He is the Lord of Night. Each one of us goes through this dark night, right? And death is considered to be the darkest of nights because you have to drop the personality that you have. I am this, I am that, I am Prime Minister, I am a great teacher, I'm a great guru. Everything has to experience a drop. And of course, death teaches that. So, in our journey of realizing the real knowledge, we pass through these three knots or three nights. What are these three knots or three nights? First is avidya. Second is kama. Third is karma. Avidya, kama, karma. These are the three things that one has to transcend to reach to the real or supreme being that you are. So where does avidya stays? Avidya stays in our karan shari. We call it causal body. Right? It is the causal body that has the cause to everything. Right? Cause to where am I right now? It is the karan shari. So avidya simply means that which which stays in the zone of ignorance, which is not focused on the real knowledge. And then kama stays in our sukshma sharir, right? There are waves of desires that run inside of us. Oh, I want this, I want that, I should do this, I should do that, all these things. And the third thing, which is karma stays in the character, of basically the sthula sharira, the physical body. So it is through physical body that we do karma, through our hands, through our feet, and all this sensory organs being put into action. So the one who is ready to transcend these three things, avidya, kama, and karma, is going to reach to that supreme knowledge. And how do we transcend these three things? We transcend it by fasting. We transcend it by fasting. What is fasting? Now, most of the times we observe a fast of the physical body. We say, okay, let me give my body some rest. Some of us, we think, oh, let us do it on Tuesdays, then God Mangal, the Lord Mangal, will be happy with us. Somebody observes it on Monday, so that I get a partner as per my choice. Lord Shiva bestows that partner on me. But fasting, that is at the body level. But there has to be a fasting that is done at a subtle and a supra subtle, the subtler body. And that is fasting of the thoughts, right? And just be. We started our meditation today with fasting of the thoughts. We say, we just be. We allow ourselves to be. Today we can say, oh, I am close today. Whatever somebody says, whatever this person says, this person has some cuss words for me, this person says something else to me. Let me not bothered by it, because it's not about me. If that person is doing it to me, in a way, it is doing it to that supreme being. And if in that person is doing it to that supreme being, in a way, that person is doing it to himself, because that supreme lives in that person also. So I stay with where I am. I stay just be. Yeah. So that is how these three knots are transcended by being into the zone of fasting. Now going forward, when the child Nachiketa heard that there are three boons that he is being offered, he very graciously took those boons. And he started with asking one boon after the other. So the first boon that he takes is that he returns to his father, rather, he returns to his appeased father, his happy and satisfied father. Now, he was a very intelligent boy. In this wish, he picked up two wishes. He is saying he returns to his appeased father. That means father is now not angry, right? So he's happy. And second is he returns. So first is you've come to Yam Dharmaraj. There is nobody who can go back in the physical body to out from the vicinity of Yam Dharmaraj, and you're asking that you go out. And along with that, you want to go out to your appeased father, a satisfied father, a happy father who's let go of his anger, you know, on through which he said these words that I give you to death. So when Yam Dharmaraj saw that he is an intelligent boy and he has the art of asking boons, so he knows that. So he says, Tathastu. So, you will go back to your father in your physical body, although it has never happened. And at the same time, when you go to your father will be in that appeased and joyful state to welcome you. And that is how the first boon was offered to this boy. And then he moves to the second. Yam Dharmaraj says, now tell me, this one is complete. Now tell me, which one is your second boon? What is it that you want from me? And in the second boon, he said that, I have heard that, when, there are planes, there are lokas wherein there is youth, there is no death, there is only life, there is only joy. Tell me about those and tell me how to, achieve that immortality to be there. Tell me about those. And what can I do to be there? How can I reach there? And when he said that, so Nachiketa, Yam Dharmaraj started with, okay, I will reveal that to you now. So he said that, yes, there are lokas wherein, you, unlike earth, you don't have suffering, you don't have old age, you don't have illness, you don't have pain, you only have the wonders to enjoy. So there are two types of lokas that there are. So basically there is a lower loka and there is a higher loka. The lower loka is basically the Indra loka. And the higher loka is the Brahma loka. So there are souls who wish for Indra loka. That means we usually say Swarga. When I die, I go to Swarga because the Swargapati is Indra. So I enjoy that. So in Swarga, of course, we've seen in movies, we've seen in mythological serials that Indra sits on that beautiful throne, and the apsaras are dancing, and everybody is enjoying that somrasa, and such a entertaining scene being shown there. And Indra is in full beauty. He looks so beautiful, charming, glowing. So that is basically the typification of what happens in the Indraloka. You have life, you don't have death, you only have life, you have only enjoyment, you have entertainment, you have perfect youth, there is no disease. But there is a catch to Indraloka, and that catch is you enjoy all these till the time you have the balance to spend there. That means the balance of your good karmas. And once you have completely exhausted that balance, you go back, you return to the earth to again recharge yourself and earn, what you lost in that, in that loka, and then, again getting into that. So this keeps us into the loop of life and death. We keep moving, like, coming circles, going circles. That is how it keeps happening. Ahead of this is the loka called Brahma Loka. The loka, the one who is focused there, not that he is focused on the entertainment. but is focused on the real essence, the real nature of the soul. That is how you reach to Brahmaloka. And Brahmaloka is the one that has path of no return. It is called Jivan Mukti. We call it uh, Mukti, Nirvana. That means completely submerging yourself into that real being that you have come from. Right? Well, the great beings do not say that you go for Indraloka or Brahmaloka. You have a choice to make, but the real Nachiketa was focused there. So he was more interested in, asking about Brahmaloka, and that is how, the whole thing was shared to him. And then he further wanted to ask that how can he be in that space of Brahmaloka? How can he attain Brahmaloka? So of course, he was given this a kind of a yagna, which is called Vaishwanara. Vaishwanara means Vaishwa has come from Vishwa, Ishwara, and Nara means the Nara. So this basic yagna was named as Vaishwanara, and that is what was completely told by Yam Dharmaraj to Nachiketa, that this is how the yagya has to be done, and this is how you reach to where you want to reach. So of course when he told that, and so what Nachiketa did was he kind of you know he we call it kanthast karna. That means you kind of completely merged it into you, that you really don't need to go through it once again. You now know it. So when Yam Dharmaraj said that, do you know it now? He said, yes, I know it. And he repeats it word by word to Yam Dharmaraj. And Yam Dharmaraj again gets very impressed from this boy, that look at this boy, such a rapt attention of listening to everything. He gets so overjoyed and he says, along with this second, I also want to give you this garland that I am wearing. So there are multiple colored flowers into that garland, and he offers this to this boy. And he says, don't take this garland to be a normal garland. So he offers it to this boy. So this garland speaks about our multifold personality, our multidimensional self. That is what he is being offered. He is given the knowledge of the past, the future, the present. He gets into the zone where past and future merges into present, into now. That is how he is realizing his multidimensional self. So, and on the top of that, he says that this Vaishwanara, this yagna from now onwards would be called as Nachiketa yagna. It would be called on your name. He got so overjoyed by it. So that is how there is a Nachiketa yagna, which Purohits, get us into. Of course, we have to understand the essence rather than, being busy into, those rituals, as long as we do them with a focused attention where it has to be. And that is how this boy now reaches to the third boon. Now here comes the very interesting part from this third boon. Now Yam Dharmaraj says, now son, ask me the third boon. I'm ready. Your two boons are done now. So this boy now says that, I want to know what happens after death. I haven't heard about this, and there is a lot of confusion. I want to know what happens after death. Tell me about that. Now Yam Dharmaraj gets little kind of surprised, that how can he ask me about that to the Lord of death himself. He says, dear son, don't go into that area. Don't go into that zone. And because this zone is not even completely open for gods. All these Varuna, Indra, even they don't know. They don't know about this zone. So it's better not to touch this area. You ask something else, I will give you that. And when Nachiketa listens to that, and he says that if it is such an unavoidable zone, now I only want this. I don't want anything. Because he feels that, if such is the thing, I only want to know this now. And then again, Yam Dharmaraj is in a fix. He again kind of tries to tempt the boy, and he says, my child, uh, look, I will give you this and this. I will give you gold, and I will give you all that property that you want. For, that property, all your 7 generations are going to enjoy, or even the generations coming after that is going to enjoy. There will be all the fame, wealth, abundance, health. I can give you all. And then Nachiketa says, if Lord is ready to give all this, in lieu of that, now think what would be the weight of that which I'm trying to ask? I only want this now. I don't want this. Now give me this. Then now again, Yam Dharmaraj again in a fix. So he tries to tempt this boy to 3 times. But then he sees that this boy has seriousness. He carries that, what I should say, that devotion, dedication to reach to that truth, despite these temptations being offered to him, in a very direct way. He's not getting, he's not considering them to be a barrier, rather, he's surpassing all of them. These were the moments which Buddha also encountered, when Mara came in and offered him that, you can have this and that and everything. But then he kept moving. And same way, Nachiketa also kept moving. And that kind of, moved the heart of Yam Dharmaraj. And he said, I will give you what you are seeking. I will tell you all that you're seeking. I will tell you everything. So from here, the Upanishad starts like a monologue, just like Yam Dharmaraj talking and giving all the information to this boy. And this boy is constantly, absorbing. So Katha Upanishad is nothing but the conversation, that has happened between both of them. Now, I can't cover the complete teachings because, as I said, that my purpose is to invite you to read this because it is amazing to read this. But a few of the teachings I can definitely share with all of you from this. So the very first thing which I wanted to talk about is what is good and what is pleasurable. So Yam Dharmaraj gives him 2 words. He says there are 2 things, Shreyas and Prayas. So what is Prayas? Prayas is that which is pleasurable to senses. So for example, today I wish to eat something meetha, something that is pleasurable to you. Today I want to go out and eat in that restaurant. Today I want to eat Thai. Today I want to go out and buy some new clothes. You know, 1 week from now, I'm going to buy a new Mercedes. What is this? And, we go to God and we say, please give me a Mercedes. I want a black one. Please give me this. So what is it? This is asking that is pleasurable to senses. You're asking the Supreme that which is pleasurable to your senses. We call it prayers. And when you ask prayers, it gets you into the zone of life and death. Keep moving. Because if you've taken, of course, you will come back to give it, and then you keep moving in that zone. You remain in that zone of life, death, life, death, life, death. It never ends. But then he says there is another zone called Shreyas. Your asking can be Shreyas of Shreyas nature. Shreyas nature means that which is good. that which is for your highest good. Now, if you see, when Yamadharmaraj was tempting this boy with all those, oh, I will give you this, I will give you that, I will give you all this. So he's trying to offer this boy all the prayers that you take this, leave me now, don't come to me. But then this boy is so attentive to Shreyas that he doesn't want to miss a sight of it. He's only focused on that. So that is how, the Shreyas is being weighted. So friends, there are three types of temptations that we all have to overcome in our journey. What are these three types of, temptations that we go through? The first temptation that we all have to go through is sex. We have to transcend this kama agni. The second is gold, which is nothing but, you can say, the prosperity or the abundance and wealth, basically. That is third thing is fame. We call it kirti. So that is what we have to overcome. In Sanskrit it is called as vitteshana, putreshana and lokeshana. Vitteshana means the gold, putreshana means the sex, and then lokeshana means the fame. So we all have to transcend this to reach into the zone of our real self. So this boy is ready to let go of all this. He says, I don't need all this, I just need that. And that gets us into the very first teaching, which came by the very example of Nachiketa, that each one of us in our journey, we stay focused on Shreyas, then prayers, and the universal field is going to test us, and it is going to test us in most mystical ways, let me tell you. Right? You won't even get to know that it is a test that is happening, because we will feel so tempted by what is being offered. But then the one who is ready to reach to that supreme being would always know that what is my goal. He would always seek vidya rather than avidya. Rest, everything is avidya. Right? So that is the very first learning, that came into the zone of, Nachiketa. I am now going to give you another learning from, the Katha Upanishad. Let me just share a small picture with you, because you would need to see that picture to have deeper understanding. So friends, we talked about the story of Nachiketa, and we are still in the process of that. Now, I want to talk about this picture, which can give us the real understanding of who is who. So you see this picture, and it might come to us as one. Of course, it is one, but then there are separate units that are involved into this. There are horses, there are reins, and there is a charioteer. There is a master who is sitting, on the chariot. And then the chariot itself. The fifth one is the chariot. Now, I would like to ask you, who is who? Who is who with respect to self? Okay, so, okay, let me start. Okay, I can see Anjuji has raised a hand. So I think I really don't need to give any hint to this. That's great. So Anjuji, I would like you to unmute yourself and let us hear to what you have to say.
horses are showing our indriyas.
Beautiful.
They are indriyas, and we charioteer is our mind. Like we should keep our indriyas in control.
Okay.
Our indriyas should be in our control, and plus mind also.
Very good. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Anjuji. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Anyone else, friends? You can raise your hands and we can unmute you. Just give it a try. So horses, for now, it has been shared that these are indriyas. Okay, beautiful. So I also want to know about what are these reins, the charioteer, the master, and this complete chariot. So who is who? Yes, Neha.
So the master is our soul.
Hmm.
The chariot itself is the body that we have got. That's chariot, and yeah, horses, like she said, is the senses which are focused outward.
Beautiful. Okay, great, wonderful. Thank you. Yes, Dipali.
I will. I'll just try and give it a shot.
Please.
So I think chariot itself is us, and the charioteer is the mind. Reins are how do you say thoughts.
Okay.
To control, or it's the other way around. Horses are thoughts, or something that controls our thoughts.
Okay.
The inference that I'm drawing out of this picture, and the master is our breath.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Dipali. Great. Rajesh ji.
Hello.
Yes.
Om ji bhaiya.
Om ji.
Horses are five senses, and the chariot is our body, and the charioteer is our mana, and the person sitting behind is our soul.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. Yes, Jyoti ji.
The other way around. Horses are thoughts, or something that controls our thoughts.
Okay.
That I'm drawing out of this picture. And the master is our breath.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I think
so.
master is our soul.
Rajesh ji.
Chariots, energy, different energies.
Yes.
Rain is just like a challenge.
Yes.
And horses is again a synonym of energy. That's what I would like to say.
Right. Thank you. Okay, friends. Great. And I can read out some comments in the comment section. Okay, Harsha has mentioned horses are the chakras, the chariot is the body, reins are meditation, reigning senses, desires, charioteer is the higher self, higher soul. Great, wonderful. I think that is wonderful, dear friends. Thank you for sharing. Now, let me also share. So, through this picture, I think it is even more clear. You can see that there are horses, there are reins, there is this charioteer, and there is this master. So horses are nothing but our senses, which was shared by Anjuji in the beginning. So these horses are very active. All the time they want to keep moving from one place to another. They can't stand at one place. They just want to follow where they see the green grass. And wherever they see the green grass, they just move into that direction to have it, to enjoy it, to chew it. And that is how our senses work. All the time, our senses are busy in seeking pleasures. They will say, today, let's do this. Today, let's do that. Today, let us try this. Yesterday I did that. That was boring. Even our life, we keep on judging on the basis of our senses. Right? We get too much busy into judging through senses that we miss the essence of what we are doing. So that is what the work of these senses are. And people find it tough to manage these senses because they are really powerful in nature. To transcend the barrier of this senses is a big thing in our own journey of evolution, right? And who holds this senses, in the sense that who shares, who kind of holds the control to these senses are the reins. On whose commands the senses work? It is the manas. It is the mind. Whatever mind says, the senses would move into that. Mind gives you a thought. It is a birthplace of thought. There are varieties of thoughts that are moving here and there and then keep moving from all the different directions. And the senses would only work on, kind of achieving what the mind has said. Now, here, the mind is basically the lower mind that we can say. So our mind can also be divided into a few parts. We call it manas, the buddhi, the chitta, and then aham, or we call it ahankar. Now, these different parts of minds are busy in doing different functions of the mind. It might look to us as one from the outside because we have never analyzed it in those ways. And the way the information comes, it comes as if it is one. But these components are working separately. Now, let me give you an example how these things are working. Let me just give you an example. For example, all of a sudden you feel that I want to go out today because it's been so long I haven't gone out. I want to go out and go to this Chinese restaurant, this mainland China, let's say. I want to go there and enjoy that some nice, Chinese curry and some, good food, hearty food that I want to enjoy. Now there came this thought. You received this thought. As soon as you've received this thought, rest of the information will start to flow down. What will happen? You will have many questions. Should I go alone? Should I go with someone? Should I go mainland China sector 72? Should I go mainland China cyber city? Where should I go? Should I go? Should I not go? All these things are coming into the picture. And at the same time, I want to try this. I want to try that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And along with that, some past memories are also coming, which will say the last time I went to mainland China, this was really nice. The dessert was really nice. This was amazing. And, going with this friend was very good. So all these things are coming. And finally, you take the decision to go or not to go. If you have to go, then the path is something else. There's a further step that you have to move on. If you say you don't want to go, then you will probably get busy with some other thing. So in this whole process of how this thinking happening, there are elements of manas, buddhi, chitta, aham that are at play. Now, for example, this very thought, today I want to go out. I want to eat Chinese today, and I'm going to go to this particular thing. Where is this coming from? This is coming from the unit called Manas. Now, what is the job of Manas? Manas is only busy giving, offering desires, and it is closest to senses. It only knows how to give birth to a thought, variety of thoughts, and that is what it keeps doing. But the catch with Manas is that Manas does not have the decision making power. The Manas does not know, should I go or should I not go? Manas does not carry the clarity. Manas only knows how to ask questions, and all variety of questions, here, everything coming from the space of Manas. And then Manas is accompanied by Chitta. Now, what does Chitta do? Chitta gives the references of the past. It gives you the reference of, in the form of memories, in the form of experiences, in the form of words that you're holding in your subconscious. So it kind of comes as a reference library so that you can approach the decision making in a better state, right? And that is how Chitta comes into the picture. And then also Aham is at play. So Aham is also playing when Aham means, basically Aham means separation. Anything that separates us from that supreme state is Aham. It is Ahankar. Right? Now, Ahankar in our actual terms, we say, oh, it is proud. Basically, it is not that. Ahankar means the spirit of I-ness, I, the small I, not the big I, but the small I saying ki main bhi kuch hu, I am something. That is ego. That is Aham. So everything, this comes under the vicinity of mind here, right? Because they are holding the senses, and senses is taking information from Manas, Chitta, and Aham. Now, behind the Manas, there is an entity sitting. There is a unit sitting, which we call as Buddhi. Now, what does Buddhi do? Buddhi is the one that has the power to take decision. It is the Buddhi that tells you, should you go, should you not go. So, Buddhi has the power to drive the mind. Now, consider if Buddhi is not grown, if Buddhi has not developed muscles, if this charioteer has not developed muscles, will he be able to hold the reins tightly so that he can control the horses? He will not be, because the Buddhi is weak. And if the Buddhi is weak, that means the senses are free, like those free horses, they are moving in all the directions and you can't control. And then you are a slave to all those senses, because it is not the Buddhi that is driving the chariot. Chariot means the body. It is not the Buddhi that is driving the body. It is the senses that is driving the body. So in both the situations, you end up at different places. One will get you into the zone of life, death. Another has the power to get you closer to, the real nature. And that is how both of them are linked. Now, behind Buddhi, there is a person who is sitting, who is actually being taken from here to there, and, sitting quietly, observing, witnessing the entire play which is happening between the senses and mind and then Buddhi. But he sits quietly and he waits that if Buddhi would like to take his opinion, right? So how do we say that the Buddhi is weak? The Buddhi is weak when it does not approach the Atman. That means it does not approach the master. Now, if you won't ask, if a driver never asks the master where the master wants to go, will the master or will the car reach to a destination? it will never reach to a destination. We'll keep moving circles from one place to another. And there will come a time when there is no fuel in the car. And that would be, a sad end. That is why for Buddhi to grow, for Buddhi to become that Divya Buddhi, it has to sit in the close vicinity of Atman. So if you see in all these, all these units that you look at, who is closest to Buddhi? Sorry, who is closest to Atman? It is Buddhi. So Buddhi has to be put in right direction. It has to be turned inward so that it can take the, the right knowledge from Atman. It should meditate. It should sit in silence so that the Atman can speak from within. Otherwise, if everything is outward, only the senses would speak and nothing else. So that is how, we are led into this zone of Atman. Now, if somebody is living in this ignorant world, for them, who will be the boss? The senses will be the boss, right? They will be driven by senses. The senses is the boss for them. But if somebody is on the path of realization, somebody knows that I am focused at the real, then it is the senses that serves the mind. It is the mind that serves the Buddhi. It is the Buddhi that serves the Atman. And it is the Atman that serves the Supreme Atman, the Paramatma. So that is how they are linked. If you make senses the boss, then the case is, this game is in a different, it's a different ball game altogether. So which is why we must awaken the knowledge of Atman within. That is what, Yam Dharmaraj is telling Nachiketa. That bring in the knowledge of Atman. Sit with yourself, meditate over it. There are so many ways of meditating, on different techniques that Katha Upanishad, offers. So, of course, that can also be looked into. But this is how, he's been led to the real self. That who are you? The real self is your Atman. Friends, at this moment, I would like to ask you if you have any question. Okay, so what we can do is, let us first enter into a meditation, right? We will meditate over what we have received so far. So I'd like you to sit comfortably now, close your eyes, and just take a deep breath in, breathing in from your nose, hold it for a while, and breathe out from your mouth. Breathing in and breathing out. And just stay with your normal, natural breath now. Just be with your breath. Just focus on your breathing. Today we give ourselves the permission to internalize our real nature, to go closer to our real nature. As you stay with your breath, you're delving deeper, you're going inward. Just be in total awareness. We have to stay in awareness. As we stay with this breath, you're going deeper. And your body is nothing but that chariot. The sthula sharira is the chariot. Just be. And at this moment, we give ourselves the permission to turn inward now. From the chariot, I would like you to bring your attention to senses, Panchendriya. The horses in you that keep running from one place to another. Today we observe these horses. We just watch them. We just see, notice how they are busy in the play of Maya, in the world of illusions. Just be with that. Witness. Witness these horses, these senses. The taste, the smell, the seeing, the feeling, and the hearing. Just be. And from these horses, I would like you to move even more inward to those reins, that which to which the horses are tied, the reins, the mind. The mind, the reins that has vibrations, and these vibrations travel to the senses. How these thoughts are surfacing that vibration. Just witness these rains. From these rains, give yourself the permission to go even more inward. In whose hands these reins are held? To whom does the mind serve? Who is the boss of this mind? It is the Buddhi, the charioteer. Just observe your Buddhi. When we meditate, the Buddhi becomes Divya Buddhi. It is in this Divya Buddhi, the light of the soul shines. It is in this Buddhi, the sun rises. I'd like you to even letting go of this Buddhi now and entering into the zone of the Supreme Atman. Just offer yourself fully to Atman. It is the Atman that is unchangeable. It is this Atman that is constant, blissful. So that which in you that is unchangeable, eternal, and brings you that bliss, oozes out that bliss. That's your real nature. Be that. Be in that zone, be in that space. In your Atman consciousness. That speck that you are. The speck of that light. That Paramatman. And at this moment, I'd like you to even give away your individual consciousness. Go even more inward into your real nature. That supreme being, that Param Atman. I am Atma Brahma. Atman is Brahman. Atman is Paramatman. Dropping your individual sense and being that universal consciousness, be it manifested, unmanifested. Being in that state. Rest in your universal nature, your true nature. It is this true nature that shines in your Buddhi. It is this nature that shines in your mind. It is this nature that shines in your senses. It is this nature that shines in your body. When you're focused on your real nature, everything purifies. The Buddhi purifies. The mind purifies. The senses and body purify. When you come from this space, when you are focused on your real nature, I'd like you to see that which you are struggling in your life. Is that really a struggle? Does that really matter? Just see that. See from that space. What truly matters for you? Just notice that. Telling it to yourself that I allow myself to keep myself in the awareness of that supreme self that I am, my supreme reality, my supreme nature. And I take every step in my life from that place. I take it from that. And when I live from that space, I'd like you to have a glimpse that how your life shifts. What shifts in your life? Notice that. Become aware of that. Every day I meditate and every day I grow into my supreme nature. I realize everything is Brahman, the supreme self. Slowly and gently, we are bringing this realization with ourselves from that superconscious to subconscious to the conscious, from that subtlest to subtler to subtle to the gross, so that we fully live it. We live from that state. Taking 3 long, deep breaths. Starting to come back. Bringing in the light of the inner sun in you. Totally recharged. Feeling fresh, lighter, brighter, whole and complete. Opening the palms of your hands and keeping the center of your palms on your eyes for 5 seconds. And gently we open our eyes. Take your time. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, Mridul. You have a question you want to share? We can take 2-3 questions before we end the session. Yes. So, Mridul, you can, yes.
Hi, Hitesh. Thank you for a very wonderful session. I have a question. So, could you take an example? Could you take an example? You mentioned that they're on the journey of, on the path of getting to that Brahma lok or to that wisdom. There are those three, prayas that we need to, forego. And those typically arise from our 5 senses. Okay? But if you could take an example of each of those prayers and can you show the journey of how that Atman would respond to those each of those prayers? थोड़ा सा मुझे थोड़ा clarity उसमें आएगा.
So basically, what are those 3 things? These are 3 temptations.
Right.
What are these 3 temptations? There is one temptation which is related to the sexual desires. The second temptation is about gold. So it mentions gold. Gold means, in Sanskrit, there's a word called kanchana. That is what is being used for gold. Kanchana means the gold, the wealth, all these temptations related to that. And the third thing that one has to transcend is fame, which we call as kid, or we call it lokeshana, which means being the lokapati, right? So these are the 3 temptations one has to transcend to be in that, right? So one who is focused on Shreyas, that person will be able to discern, this person will be able to distinguish, is this the real goal? Is the fame real goal? Is the wealth real goal? Or is this, this gold is real goal? When that person is able to see that this is not the vidya, this is a vidya, right? It has its purpose. Not that I say that we reject it, but we use it in such a way that it doesn't control us, or we are not into the zone of attachment to that. It is for our comfort. The Supreme Being has given it for our comfort. But at the same time, we must know that we live it from the space of non-attachment, right? Because that is how, these three things. So then ultimately, we will know that if this is not what I need, then I need that. Then I'm focused on that very thing. So that what keeps us moving. That what takes us from prayers to Shreyas.
So just to add, for example, if it is, say wealth, it means ambition. Okay, so I want to grow in my life. I want to aspire for, moving from place A to place B. So so between Shreyas and prayers, it brings about ye good hai ki bad wala aspect. Does it bring about that?
Yeah. So if we are attached and we are desperate, it is prayers.
Okay.
But if we hold a greater intent to something that is a purified intent. So for example, you can even enjoy these riches, but do you enjoy it from the space that these are pleasurable to senses, or you enjoy by looking into those things, that actual thing, that eternal happiness? It could be a taste of that also. Because the moment I put my attention there, then I am not attached to what is over it. So it is big differences of attachment and non-attachment.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes, Arula La Rasiji. Yes, please. I'm sorry if I spelled your name wrong.
I'm so happy to meet you. I got to know about you through the videos that had that awakening call, and I did the inner child work, and instantly I felt so peaceful, so peaceful. I just cannot explain that feeling. And from then on, I just wanted to see you, speak to you, and I had sent a message on your website, and you had given me beautiful blessing, and thank you for that. Now, coming to this session, thank you very much for this wonderful, wonderful meditation and the clarity that you bring in such a simplistic way. That's awesome, awesome. Hats off to you. And one thing I really have to tell you is you mesmerize with your smile. Okay. Whenever I think of you, like instantaneously, there is a smile on my face too. Your smile is so, so, so infectious. Let me tell you that. And God bless you for that. Okay. And I just have one simple question to ask. That is, when you say we need to have this thought fasting, right? Now, we all are into the world, and we have our jobs, and, for whatever reasons, how do we do this thought fasting? Because for me personally, uh, I feel that I'm a very overthinking person, about few things, not everything, but then about few things. And I would like to have a simple tool or a technique which you can give us, so that in the course of the day, when we are into the world and doing whatever we are supposed to do, our responsibilities, our job, and other things, and even household things that we're doing, if we can practice it, so that it will help us to get into that thought fasting mode. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Well, so when there are thoughts, as I said, that look for the real nature in the thoughts. And the thing is, there are variety of thoughts that are coming. I ask, is it my real nature? First. And then if not, what is my real nature? I ask that question. So I can little bit give you the, one step, because I want you to explore it more, because when you explore it on your own, the revelation is going to be amazing. You're not all your thoughts. You are not the thoughts, rather. You are the one watching the thoughts. So anytime when these thoughts overpower you, tell yourself, I am not all these thoughts. I am the one who is watching the thoughts. Automatically, you will move to something else then. Yeah, your attention will move from that hyperactivity to your real nature. Yes. Welcome. Okay, friends. So that's great, dear friends. And I think we will end the session. And I end up, since Katha Upanishad is more about death, so dear friends, and we must meditate, and meditate on death. Many a times when we experience this death in our meditation, it is also a taste of death. Many people feel discomfortable when they get into that, because the identity, one's own identity. So each one of us know that this moment you're seeing me, the very next moment you might not see me. Right? And same, it can happen with anyone. Yet, we are not focused on, the real understanding of death. Because, for example, if you say somebody that You just have 2 minutes to live now. Will that person do what that person has been doing? Will they do that? Their entire shifting, there will be a shift in what they feel, what they express, how they do, what they do, because they just have 2 minutes to finish everything. So that is the death. Death actually gets us into the power of Viveka. Viveka and Vairagya. These are the two gifts of death. When we meditate on this, we get Viveka. Viveka means understanding, discernment. What is my real nature? And the second one is Vairagya. Vairagya means non-attachment. Right? We live here joyfully, completely, but not in the space of attachment. So that is the greatest learning of the teacher named Death. So the more we meditate, the more we grow into the Vairagya and Viveka, the understanding and the non-attachment. That's the zone of love. That's the zone of Supreme Being, the real Brahman. Right? So on this note, there's no author Pushpaji of Katha Upanishad. You just have to type Katha Upanishad. It comes under Krishna Yajurved. Yajurved is one of the Vedas. So you will get that. Personally, I read Swami Satyanand Saraswati. It's one of the most beautiful books, one of the most beautiful, the explanations that have come, the 9 principal Upanishads from Bihar School of Yoga. So you can also pick up any other, if you have any personal favorite teacher, you can always, but I invite you to read it. This is amazing. Dr. Newton teaches the chariot, the picture that I showed you, he teaches it in one of the workshops that we do on PLR. But of course, you can take it further by reading, getting an entry into reading the narrations of this. So on this note, thank you so much for joining me, all the friends who joined here on Zoom, and everybody who joined on the YouTube session. Thank you very much. And we end it on a small shaloka, which is the Shanti Mantra, because it is said that when you do the Upanishads, when you study Upanishads, there is a Shanti Mantra which is said in the beginning and in the end. In the beginning, I said it in me before I started. So I ended up by saying, Om Sehno Vavatu, Sehno Vunaktu, Sahaviryam Karvavahi, Tejasvi Navadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahi, Om Shantihi. Shantihi, Shantihi. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.